Yeah, welcome guys. Welcome to the panel. So this is the dataRizon and JGYP International Youth Forum, and the topic regarding this today's forum is on preparing for the era of big data. And so, yeah, thanks everyone for coming and taking the time out of your evening, morning, wherever you are. It's good to see all of you guys, and yeah, let's get started. So, see, before we kind of dive into the panelists and everything, let's kind of introduce some of the organizations that are starring in the forum today. So, first of all, we have the Global Youth Philanthropy, one of the bigger organizers of this event. So, we have Global Youth Philanthropy, and so they are officially affiliated under the Angel Mom Foundation, and GYP has participated in the 99 Charity Campaign, which is a fundraising activity organized by Tengxun, the nonprofit organization, and they welcome everyone to participate. And so some announcements for them in the 2021 to 2022 year. The focus of the Global Youth Philanthropy organization is to kind of support and to help families with the youth diagnosis of the amyotrophic lateral sclerosis and other serious diseases. So below you can find the link to the fundraising website, and in addition, there is the email below for the inquiry. And general information about the nonprofit itself, JYP the general missions of GYP is to provide the platform and these opportunities for youth to learn about philanthropy in general and in creating change and character building, as well as helping the younger generations to gain larger world perspectives, so volunteer experiences and character building, and as well as to promote the communication and collaborations among youth philanthropic organizations around the world. And so JYP's International Student Forum currently is enrolling new members. This is where this is the forum that you're attending right now. So if you're interested in sort of talking to your peers internationally, people who live in the US, Canada, China, et cetera, all around the world, or if you want to sort of volunteer, organize activities, or just practice your English, or practice public speaking in general, you're welcome to kind of scan the code in the right. You can register and try to do one of these sort of forums yourself. And so, yeah, that is regarding the Global Youth Philanthropy. Make sure to check them out. They were huge in helping to create this forum. So, yeah, be sure to check out their socials and scan the QR codes. In addition, there is a special group of guests today from International School of Longpan Hu. So we welcome them to join us. So once again, thanks for your support and for the administrators in kind of promoting the event. Or if you guys are from there, we're really glad to have you. And yeah, it's great to see you all here. Let's see. And so, yeah, and then the other organization, this is mainly the speakers that we'll be having today. This is dataRizon. So dataRizon is a lovely little nonprofit. We are focused mainly on promoting the appreciation, education, and the application of data science. So we're trying to provide opportunities for the youth and anyone who's interested to learn data analysis skills as the areas of big data become increasingly relevant to our futures and increasingly relevant to our daily lives. And so our nonprofit aims to provide outreach in K through 12 students to the importance of data science and the importance of research, as well as hoping to expand and kind of inspire the scientific minds of tomorrow. Feel free to check out our website below. Here's the link. We'll have that hopefully in the chat at some point. But we offer a lot of different educational things. So here's a little quick peek on what our organization does before we really get into it. But regarding our nonprofit, we do offer free seminars. So somewhat like panelists like these little free seminars to help to introduce applications of data science in the real world to students, as well as providing free courses that are used to kind of help students develop their own data analysis skills. We record some of these programs. You can actually find some of these recordings on our YouTube channel. They're on dataRizon. So yeah, feel free to check us out and give us a follow. not to plug, but in addition, we do offer support for research opportunities. We believe that high school students are able to sort of learn these data analysis skills through real world application. And thus we provide opportunities for research in STEM, business, social science, et cetera, in preparing for challenges for the big data era. So if you are interested in research, and we'll be talking about this more throughout this forum, but if you are interested in doing research in data science, using data science and possibly using this to participate in a science fair, you're welcome to contact us through the website, through our emails, et cetera. In addition, we do provide free services to other nonprofit organizations in helping them manage their own data, performing their surveys, analyzing data, in order to kind of assist them and provide guidance in their development. In addition, we do provide support in establishing data science clubs in the school and community, as well as for students in Illinois. We do encourage you to participate in the Illinois Junior Academy of Science, which I will elaborate on later as well. This is a science fair, research science fair, and our current organization allows us to sponsor students. So once again, if you're in the Illinois area and you guys are interested in research, feel free to contact us at the email above, datarizon@gmail.com. In addition, we're always open to volunteering opportunities. So if you're interested in really not volunteering for a nonprofit and helping out, you're very welcome to do so. And so let's kind of get started with the talk. So a little introduction about me, the person who's actually speaking right now. My name is Amy Dong. I am a senior. I'm a high school senior at Hinds, Illinois, from the US. So I am the founder of the dataRizon nonprofit that I just kind of introed there, as well as the founder of my high school's data science club. And yeah, I'm very interested in data analysis, big research person. Let's see, in research, I've attended MIT's RSI Institute, if any of you know about that, in last year, I believe. And yeah, I'm very passionate about this stuff, very excited for you all to be here, and it's some of my credentials for this talk. And so kind of before we get to the panelists, I think a lot of people here might not really know regarding the actual specifics of data science. I know that we do highlight big data here. We do have a nonprofit organization talking about data science, and I've talked about data science here, but I guess, it's possible that a lot of you here don't really know what data science is. So before we kind of get to panelists and their sort of specific STEM interests and their experiences in data science, I think I'll real fast run by what data science exactly is. I know it's a big buzzword. A lot of people have heard about it, but what exactly is data science? And so data science is, it's honestly not as complicated or as high opportune as a lot of people make it out to be. What data science really is the intersection of these three fields. So the intersection of computer programming, the sort of IT, as well as the combination of math statistics combined with domain knowledge. And together, those three create this sort of intersection field of data science. And so there's some of the components of data science, just to get you guys, just get an idea of what kind of work that you would actually do here. But what really happens is that it's about using data. It's about taking data, being able to collect this data through surveys or getting data sets, et cetera, taking this data, being able to organize it so that it's sort of readable, using this data to analyze it so that we can sort of either model it through visualizations, those really basic pie charts, whatever that you guys intuitively learned in elementary school, to very complex sort of models or very complex tests, et cetera, that help you to draw sort of meaningful conclusions, meaningful patterns from the data, and using these patterns likewise to create predictions, create conclusions that help to really solve issues and solve the question that you're asking for when you started to collect this data. And so a lot of people make data science out to be this very complicated thing, this very, you need to know this tool, you need to know this visualization, you need to know this piece of code in order to do data science. But what data science really is, as its very core, is about using data to solve these real world problems and to make an impact in the community. So it's not necessarily, I know a lot of people get embroiled down with the technical part of it, and the technical part of it is very, very fun. But data science at its core, for those of you who don't know and those of you who aren't sure what it really is really just about trying to really use data to help out and to make a better, a better solution for a specific issue. And yeah, I think that's been a pretty, it's a pretty light introduction to data science. And if you're interested about learning more, you can always, once again, check out the the dataRizon site that we have going on. But for now, I think it's pretty good introduction. And I know you've all been waiting for this, so we're gonna kind of start with our first few panelists. So our first panelist is Zijin Wang. She is from Washington, D.C., USA, and she is a data science and analytic major graduate student at Georgetown University. So she received her bachelor's degree from Georgetown in 2019. She's a double major in math and philosophy. And as a strategic and creative relationship builder with a demonstrated record of developing data-driven strategies for securing major gifts, she has more than 2 years of successful performance in large institutions of higher education, academic medicine, international development, and has a commitment to advancing these mission-driven nonprofit organizations. So she's gonna be able to talk with us about her experiences, her thoughts on data science. And yeah, take it away.
Thank you, Amy, again for having me here. It's really my honor to be here speaking about my data science story. In no way I'm an expert in this industry at all. I'm still a newbie for sure, but it's really my honor to be here to talk about what got me into data science and what are the things I've learned in the past years in working in this industry and being around with big data every day. Next slide, please. Thank you. So yeah, just like Amy introduced, I received my bachelor's degree from Georgetown University, and I'm currently a master's student in data science as well. And I also work as the development associate at the Office of Advancement at the Georgetown University at the same time. So I'm a partner. I am a part-time graduate student. Yeah. So could you please go to the next slide, please, Amy? So yeah, so many of you might wonder, oh, so what do you exactly do at work? How does your work is related to data science? So I work as a frontline major gift fundraiser, and I qualify and cultivate high net worth donors for Georgetown. And I primarily focus on the international donors that reside in Asia, Europe, and Latin America. I will suggest names and facilitate trips of the international trips for the president of Georgetown and his leadership teams, help build the relationships between the donors and Georgetown in order to align their vision with Georgetown's need. In this way, I help to enhance the access and affordability of a Georgetown education in order to attract and retain the best students with financial need through sustained philosophy. So as you can imagine, our database, our donor database could be tremendous, could be tens of thousands of donors. So it's really important to know how we can prioritize those donors, how we can prioritize our donor pipeline, and how to use data visualization to do campaign assessment. So after working in my current industry for 2 years, I have decided that I want to get a industry recognized credential in data science in order to help nonprofit organizations to achieve competitive advantage. I love data science because As a math major, it is an extension and usage of math and statistics in the real world in order to solve real world problems. And I just love the fact that in order to use the predictive model and data visualization, I can really make my current job easier and make it more clear and efficient during donor visit. So a big part of my interest in data science, surprisingly, is it is actually on data ethics and data privacy, which is I believe is a pretty neglected area in data science these days. So if you work in the data science industry, you will realize that data is not always clean and data is not always open and accessible to the public. So one example I have at my work is I would work with our local hospitals like MedStar Georgetown Hospital to participate in their joint Grateful Patient campaign. What it does is we would cultivate donors who are grateful patients for the treatment they receive, the surgeries they receive at the MedStar Hospital in order to help them support their physicians and their research work for all the future patients. So in order to do that, as you can imagine, we definitely need to access the PHI, which is the patient health data, the patient health information, which is regulated by HIPAA. So it's very important to know how to use that data and how to store that data legally and properly, and how we can use that data during our daily correspondence, and how we can store that data in our laptop. And another example I have is real estate data. So the house industry might be a little bit unfamiliar for most people, but I'm sure real estate data is something that you hear in news all the time. So in the US, many real estate data are being controlled by those major real estate websites like Redfin or Zillow. So in order to access their database is not easy at all. Most of them, they have a data cap. So you can only download like 300 data from them every day. But we do need to ask ourselves, do they really have the right to store people's data, to store people's real estate and housing data in order to achieve their own advantage? Because there are also like many incidents said in the news that they would use what people most search in their website in order to buy property in that specific area and then drive up the price. So that is a very hot issue these days. What are those major companies' responsibility and obligations to handle their own data? Another example would be probably everyone knows Facebook's data abuse scandal happened several years ago during the president campaign. So like you can imagine, data science really provides huge opportunities to improve our private and public life, as well as our environment. But unfortunately, such opportunities are also coupled with significant ethical challenges. So in order to use the data, we really need to get to know the bottom, like the algorithm. Is the algorithm biased on how to analyze the data? Is it really ethical for a credit card company to use an algorithm on your credit history, your job history, to decide whether you can get a credit card or not? So those are the issues that has been talking about in the data science industry all the time. And it is really important for everyone who's interested in the data science industry to have that awareness of fairness and responsibility of human rights when they're dealing with data every day. Could you please go next slide, please? Thank you. So as I know, everyone here is really passionate and want to pursue a data science career. And as someone who's also a newbie in this industry, I'm happy to talk about some skill set that I find is very useful in pursuing this career. So as you can see on the right, this is a data science life cycle. So you can see every data science project or problem starts with a business idea or a business problem that we're trying to solve. And from there, we'll go to data mining, data mining is where you can gather data, and then we do data cleaning because all data needs to be cleaned to serve our need. And the fourth step will be data exploration, where you do the basic descriptive statistic analysis, and then we do future engineering, predictive modeling, and the last will be data visualization. So the very important skill set, the number one, I would definitely say, is your math and statistical background and knowledge in order to complete any of those steps. And the second skill that will be very important is your coding skill, especially in R and Python, the most used languages for data scientists. And the third skill that many people might not realize is your storytelling ability. So as a data science, you're not just presenting to your team, to people who know what data science is, who have your background in stat or coding. You might be talking to audience who have no idea what data science is. So it'll be really, really inefficient if you're just providing him with numbers and a very dry technical knowledge. So that's where your storytelling ability and your data visualization ability comes in. In order to do that, I mean, there are like tons of packages within the coding languages that you can learn, and there are also your own ability to tell a story, to catch people's attention as well. So it's very important to know your audience and to know what you're interested in this industry. And in terms of the future of the data science career, I believe it has a bright future. As everyone knows, more data are being gathered every day. So that means more work needs to be done by data science, but also there are more regulations kick in every day. So there are also more work there for data science to know that, okay, there are the areas that we as data scientists, we have a responsibility to act on how to use the data. So it's definitely an area that's developing and it has potentials and many opportunities. So inside of this life cycle, you see 7 steps. And to be honest, in a company, every step has a team that's working on it or has a person that's crazy about it. So it's really important to know what is your passion and what are the part that you're most excited about. For some people, that could be data gathering. For some people, that could be data visualization. So I would definitely suggest you to explore your interest, trying to understand what skills you need in order to achieve each of those little steps. So the last thing I'll talk about is the challenge in today's data science career. So data science is a fairly new industry, at least when I was a freshman in 2015. It is an industry that there are rarely many people are in, and it's a very new word. Which means there is an unclear career progression. That's something that many friends of mine are struggling with as well. So you can be a very successful data scientist or data analyst for several years, but then you really need to think about where are you going to see yourself in 5 years? Are you trying to become a program manager, or are you trying to dive deep down to become a machine learning scientist? So those are all the questions you need to ask yourself. And I'm sure there are like tons of information and knowledge you need to learn in order to do those things. So it's really important to know what you're looking for in terms of data science, because it's such a general and broad idea. And it's really important to know what you're passionate about in order to go that direction. So that concludes my presentation today, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, Jun, that was amazing. Thanks so much. That was very insightful regarding the data privacy. I know we don't really talk about that a lot when I'm actually kind of teaching data science, but it is a really big part of data science. It's like definitely due to the fact that it's a growing field and due to the fact that big data is such a large thing that's coming on, and the fact that it's so new, no one's really gotten around to establishing these solid privacy laws. And really going into that area, especially, I think, beginning with the panel here, I think that's a really good thing to keep in mind. So honestly, everyone who kind of starts looking into data science, I think looking at the ethics portion, looking at that privacy area, not only kind of when you're just casually doing it, but or even pursuing a career, but just knowing and being aware of it in your daily life. I think that's very good point to have, and really glad that she had that great talk for it. So yeah, thanks again, June. And as always, we will have a Q&A session at the end. So anyone who has questions for her, make sure to stick around and send those in for her. But yeah, that's amazing. For now, we're going to keep going to our next panelist here. This is Xingyi Chen. She is from California. Well, she is in California right now. Yeah, she's in the USA. And she graduated from MIT in 2019 with a computer science degree. Currently, she is a software engineer at Facebook working on Oculus, which is a VR product. For those of you who don't know, that is virtual reality. It's pretty cool. It's like those things where you can like put on goggles and stuff, and you can see sort of virtual realm. It's really good. And while at MIT, she did a year-long graph algorithm performance optimization research under MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory and received an Outstanding Research Award. In addition, she was also captain of the MIT Asian Dance Team, which is the largest dance group on campus. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it here today, but she did record a really nice sort of segment regarding her experiences for you guys here. So for now, we're gonna have this up here. And if you guys have any questions for her at the end, you can send them in chat and I can try to get them to her via email or WeChat or something. But yeah, for now, this is Singi.
Hi everyone, my name is Xi and I am currently a software engineer at Facebook. I graduated with a CS degree from MIT 2019 in the summer. And yeah, I have been working for 2 years. And during the first year, I've been working on ads growth products. And now I've been working on Oculus, which is VR products. I'm very happy to join this panel today. Yeah, I can start briefly talking about my like very early background with math, since that's the foundation of all the STEM courses we have. So when I was very young, a huge part of my interest was just because I was good at math. It's a lot easier, like when you're young, it's just a lot easier to get interest into something when you are good at it. And then when I got slightly older, like in middle school, I enjoyed doing math because I really enjoy the sense of achievement when you figure out a problem after thinking about it for a long time. And then after I started to learn some other STEM classes such as physics, chemistry, and CS, I just found math so useful that I just continued improve my math skills, and it made it a lot easier for me to get started on the other STEM classes as well. Yeah, so that's basically how like my relationship with math for my previous 20 years. Yeah, and so at MIT, a lot of people ask me how CS was like at MIT, because they ask me like what is stressful, like everyone there is so good at CS. And so first of all, it was definitely stressful at MIT. Just once school starts, problem sets and midterms just never ends. Like you get one deadline after another. It just feel nothing ever ends. So it was definitely very stressful, but it was also very worth it, because after all the struggle, I feel I've started I feel I've grown a lot, and I feel I have grown tougher. Now once I've started working, I just feel nothing could be more stressful than MIT works. Right. So I think I definitely grew a lot through the struggle. And also, more importantly, at MIT, you know that you're never going through some struggle by yourself, because when you struggle, everyone else is also struggling. So the environment is very collaborative, and you just like do all your P sets and problems, your P sets and projects together with everyone else. You figure out tough problems together, and you learn from each other. So through this time, you also build very close relationship with all your friends and classmates. So all these made the time a lot better, right? And okay, one thing I found very challenging for me at MIT was most of the freshmen when they entered MIT, they at least had a little bit CS background, but I literally had zero CS background when I entered MIT. So I felt I was a little bit behind. But back then because we declared major by the end of freshman year. So in the beginning, I wasn't really sure whether I want to do CS. And I explored some other majors as well, such as, well, math, of course, and Mackie and Chemie, and also econ, and also biology. So after all those exploration, I just found CS was actually most interesting among all of them. And then uh, during the first semester, I felt I was a little bit behind because I think everyone else at least knows something about CS, and they have a little bit CS background. But after a semester with all the intro classes, I was a lot more confident with me accomplishing the CS major. So after that, it was all fine. It was like a lot better. And at MIT, there's also tons of resources. Like as long as you can think of, there's everything. We have we also have tons of office hour, we have mentors, and there's like small form classes if you want. So the support was very sufficient. Um, so it also made me feel a lot better because I know when I have problem, when I get stuck, I can always find someone to help. Yeah, that's basically what was like most of my experience at MIT for CS, and also what was most challenging for me. Yeah. And next, I can also talk about my current work at Facebook. As a software engineer, well, the time is a lot more flexible. So most people start working about 9, 10, or some people start 11 a.m. And typically it's like 8 to 10 hours per day. You get meetings. I think most of the time I spend 70% of my time on coding and 30% time dealing with dealing with meetings or other logistic stuff. Uh, Currently at Oculus, I really enjoy my work because I think first VR is definitely the next coming up trend in the next 10 years. Um, and Oculus uh, is one of the leaders in this like VR in this VR industry. So it's very cutting edge technology, and we will shape how the industry will look like in the next 10 years. And all the technical problems is very challenging, and also it will help me gain a lot of product sense and vision towards this VR industry. So I really enjoy doing it. Yeah, and some other and other advice for high school students. I For advice for high school students, I would think uh just continue. First of all, if you are interested in STEM, even if you don't enjoy doing math that much, you should still push yourself to at least, you don't have to be super good at it, but you have to have a solid foundation in it so that you're in the future, it will be a lot easier for you to pursue all the other all these STEM majors in college. And and I think it all depends on what you are interested in. Just because interest will make you naturally put more time into it, and you'll just naturally do better in the field than everyone else, right? So that's pretty much what I want to talk. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much. I guess quick questions maybe. Do you have any regarding the current job at Facebook? Is there a favorite kind of perk or favorite part about working at your current job that you really like?
Yeah, so, well, you get to try all kinds. Well, first, as I just said, I really believe in the VR vision, like in the future of VR, in the virtual reality. And at Facebook, you get to, since I'm working on Oculus, I get to try a lot of the features in advance, and I get to work on them. And also, I can see how Facebook as a whole uh see perceives the future of VR, and that inspires me a lot. I think that's the most enjoyable part for me. Well, definitely there's a lot of other perks, like other like small perks, such as since I'm a developer on Oculus, all the games on Oculus for me is just 1 cent. Right. But yeah, it was very fun.
You're a big gamer with the 1 cent game perks there.
Right. I was, because like, well, I wasn't really big gamer, but the Oculus experience was actually, when I first tried, I had a very low expectation on it. So like it exceeds my expectation a lot. So I started like using a lot more often, and it was a lot more fun. We got to play with all your friends in VR as well.
Yeah, so that was seeing. So once again, if you have questions for her, you feel free to send them in chat or email them, and then I can try to get them to her, hopefully. But yeah, that was seeing. Let's see. Next up, we don't have that. Next up, we have Joseph. So Joseph Luo is from Illinois/Indiana, and he is a freshman at Purdue University, currently majoring in data science. So he's participated in many hackathons and has some experience with IT, technical support. And in his free time, he likes playing sports and video games. So yeah, take it away, Joseph.
Hello. Um, for my experience in data science and STEM in general, I've done many classes in AP, but I feel like the most important thing is what you do outside of school and also what you do inside, but like in extracurriculars or something school related. And especially in computer science and data science, the grind never stops, even after schooling ends, because technology is always advancing quickly. So there's always something new to learn, which is why I'm so interested in these topics. And in the past, I have done data science, statistical analyses, like with Amy, and I have done personal projects for my computer science course, which I explored using machine learning and convolutional neural networks using TensorFlow's API to help me recognize pictures of me in a certain pose. And I feel like that was really instrumental in getting me interested in data science because I could use a computer to make predictions. And I thought that was really, really cool. And it was a really eye-opening experience for me. And then for computer science specifically, I've done hackathons where you can get to create whatever you want. And it's like a team-based or an individual competition, but it's mainly focused on the team. And you create projects related to a certain theme. And I've completed projects with IBM Cloud and creating an Android app. But really, you can solve whatever you want within a certain theme. And it's really helpful for that. It's also hackathons are also really helpful for learning because they also provide workshops which you can do, and especially right now you could join because since COVID made everything virtual, hackathons can be done in a virtual setting, and you don't need to go to the specific physical location of the college, which is really helpful because I've seen international students join in a US hackathon. And you can even start right now because they used to only allow the college students to go in, but now they can allow people under 18 and high school hackathons, which I had a very hard time finding before COVID, but now it's really easy to find. And there's this website called Major League Hacking, where you can search for search for virtual hackathons in your area, or if in-person hackathons in your area. And my school also provided this class where I could basically do tech support. And they provided Codecademy to me, which also helped me supplement my learning in data science. And also, for me, how I got started into data science was because you don't really need to know everything, but when you're starting out, but you can just have an intuitive feel for how the functions work, and you could try to experiment through that way, and it's really helpful to do that. And how I got started into computer science was basically through block-based programming like Scratch, and then I went up a level to HTML uh, where I could try to make websites, and I thought it was really cool that I could make a client-side website and have all this text around and all these links and have images on the website. And then I got introduced to Java through Minecraft because Minecraft was made out of Java. So I found out I could make mods through that, and I found it really rewarding to have my own creations be basically almost instantly shown through the website, and it really gave through the application. It really gave me motivation to create a new block, and I also got exposure to how the game was created and how I could use some of their code to make my own things. And I also made plugins plugins for Minecraft through service and tried experimenting through that. And I got basic knowledge of networking, but it wasn't really that good at that time. And then back in high school, I have done coding competitions like USACO, and especially lead code, which can help you with algorithms and data structures, which can also help you in USACO, which is a coding competition, which stands for United States of America Computing Olympiad, but it's a coding competition where you can create, where you have to solve problems and in a certain amount of time through algorithms and data structures, and they grade you based on whether you got it correct, or if there's an error, or if something doesn't match, or if there's a time limit exceeding. And I think this is really helpful for future computer science wannabes to get their algorithms and data structures, because that is basically a lot of what you do in computer science. And currently I'm trying to learn Google Cloud and SQL so I can use databases for my data science career. And pairing Google Cloud with SQL really helps me enhance my abilities through data science. And right now I'm learning R through school because I'm in a learning community right now called the Data Mine, where they give you classes and they teach you corporate like skills that wouldn't be taught in school. And in the future, I hope to get an internship or a research opportunity. And I want to learn JavaScript and build web apps using my knowledge from Google Cloud and SQL. And in IT, I have experience with computers and how they work. And I found it really exciting how I could basically control a computer through other people's code and through operating systems. And I also found it really exciting to fix my computer and to learn how it works, so I can do more things like outside the box. For example, I could try installing Chrome OS on my computer, or dual booting Chrome OS and Linux, or dual booting Windows and Ubuntu. And I also learned how to do command prompt and terminal, which is a very useful thing to learn, and learn coding shell. And as part of my tech support internship class at my school, I was able to get certifications through Microsoft Office and Word, which helped me with my job that I got as a remediator and a repairman for computers. And as a remediator, I would basically image computers, put new operating systems on, and ASCII tag these computers so they can be sent to the client. Also, I have Google IT certifications through my school, and they gave me the necessary knowledge to basically fill in the gaps with my knowledge and help me land a job and as a remediator. And I also like to dabble into Raspberry Pi and like personal projects through that. And hopefully I'm trying to learn cloud systems like Kubernetes, Docker, and Google Cloud. And I want to use those technologies in the future. For me, mathematics, I'm not that good in mathematics, to be honest. So it wasn't really that what I was really interested in, but I was with mathematics modeling challenge in the data science club with Amy, because I went to the same school as her, and we had a fun time trying to model the data that the competition gave us and try to solve problems through that data. And in conclusion, there are many opportunities for you in the space of computer science and data science. There are many avenues of attack of learning these topics. And if you're interested in computer science, there are other avenues like cybersecurity, for example, where you can join capture the flag teams, which are competitions where capture the flag competitions where there are events to be completed that are related to certain cybersecurity skill sets. And you can even start right now using CyberStart America's competitions where they give you problems on cybersecurity issues. And it is up to you to pursue these opportunities and up to your motivation. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Joseph, so much for that talk. It was very, very comprehensive on all your experiences. Yeah, we did go to the same school together, and I will elaborate regarding that data science as well. But yeah, really good hearing from the experiences of him. And yeah, definitely check out the things that he mentioned. I know there's a lot to there's a lot to follow at once in there because he's big brain. But yeah, always feel free to ask questions to him, and yeah, we'll continue on with our next speaker. We have Jed, Jed Hui from California, from the US. And Jed is a sophomore undergrad student at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and he is majoring in computer science. He graduated from the Harker School and has experience in competitive programming. So yeah, Jed, take it away.
Hello. Yeah, as Amy just said, I'm Jed and I'm a CS major. First off, I just want to thank Amy for putting this together. I think this is a really great way for people who are interested in data science or STEM in general, just to be exposed and just get hear about the experiences from people who are in the field. And thank you for inviting me, obviously. So I'll just start off with a little bit of how I got into STEM and computer science in specific. So when I was a kid, like elementary school, middle school, my parents sent me to a lot of summer camps where, similar to Joseph, I learned a lot of basic coding languages like Scratch and just very basic tools to put together very simple programs such as games. And then when I was in middle school, my school actually had a very, very good CS program. They had a lot of good teachers, and I guess they pushed CS a lot because one, it's the Bay Area. A lot of development goes on there in that area, and it's just a really great place if you want to go into STEM. So they pushed it a lot. And so I took my first proper coding course when I was in 8th grade. And ever since, I've kind of just gotten pulled into doing computer science. I wouldn't say there's a specific thing that really got me into CS. It's just once I was exposed to it and I started doing it, I just got used to doing it, and I started enjoying and I started enjoying it while I was doing it. So in college, I would say that college is a very good way to strengthen your fundamentals to prepare you for the future. A lot of the prerequisite courses are like very math heavy, very proof based. I think as you get higher and higher, computer science is less about just knowing how to code and more about how you design an algorithm to solve a specific problem. So I feel like a lot of people don't really understand that math and CS are extremely similar topics. It's just that CS is a little bit more applied in that, yes, you have to code and you are interacting with machines, but essentially, if you're very good at math, I think you can expect to be very good at computer science or STEM in general. I would say a few challenges that I have faced though in college are that depending on the school you go to, obviously, a lot of teachers, they will assume that you already know many things. And if you don't, it's very hard for you to pick up on what they're learning. So it's very important to, outside of just normal schoolwork, for you to, one, read the textbooks, and two, just do outside research on whatever your class is covering. And also, the best way, in my opinion, to learn about CS and STEM in general is not to go to a course, attend lectures, do the assignments, take exams. It's to just go out and search for stuff for yourself. I don't know if some of you may have heard of it, but Coursera is a website that offers a lot of self-study courses, and they pretty much have topics on everything. So it's like, if you want to learn anything, just look up online courses and just do them, and you'll probably learn just as much as you would from going to a school and attending a lecture. Like, the digital age is amazing. You can just learn everything by yourself, basically. But I will say that, of course, going to school and having to attend lectures and just turn in assignments, it is a lot more structured. And if you don't think you can handle organizing stuff yourself, then of course, going to a school is better. Regarding competitive programming, for me, I got introduced to competitive programming because my friends were actually doing it when I was in high school, when I was a sophomore, actually. And I started with USICO as well, which is the competition that Joseph mentioned earlier, USA Computing Olympiad. I honestly, I grinded it a lot. I tried to move up in the ranks. So the way that USICO works is basically there are different tiers, and at each tier they give you different levels of problems. Sometimes it's the same problem, but you have to make an algorithm that runs in a less amount of time. And the contests run for around 3 to 4 hours, and in that time you have to try and solve all three problems of your division. And if you meet a certain threshold, then you will be promoted to the next tier, and basically that keeps going up. And then in the end, the top 20 of the highest tier will go to a training camp for just training them for a competition, an international coding competition. I would say that while competitive programming is a good way to develop fundamentals, I don't think you should necessarily force yourself into doing it, because not everyone can sit there for 3-4 hours just trying to optimize their algorithm or think of an algorithm. And I will admit that it's not for everyone. I think that it is worth your time to check it out, but I don't feel too bad, obviously, if you don't really think it's your thing. There's plenty of other things to look into other than competitive programming. And the biggest tip that I can get to high school students is kind of similar to what has been said previously, is that yes, math is extremely important if you want to go into any STEM subject. And also secondly, as I said before, don't just limit yourself to what you are learning in school. You should, if you're interested in something, just try and look it up on your own, try and explore as far as you can on your own, and even maybe ask your teachers or something. Just keep exploring while you're still young. You have a lot of time to spare. As you get older, obviously you will have less and less time to look into the things you enjoy. So I think it's really important to try and find something that you are interested in and that you would be willing to work on for the rest of your life. And that's about it. Thank you.
Yeah, Jed, thanks so much for that. Really comprehensive and yeah, really informative. So yeah, also once again, be sure to check out some of the stuff that he was mentioning. I know Isuko and Coursera, etc. So yeah, always good tools, always good resources to have. But yeah, I think, see, in the interest of time, we're gonna keep going so you guys have some time at least for a few questions.
产业地位比较高，百留人。那是的呀，你来百度上看一下，我们整个湖北省才13个国A级留。
Yeah. So anyway, last panelist. Last panelist for today. Hi, yeah. Once again, I'm Amy Dong, and I do have some experience in data science, actually. So for closing out today, I'll be the last speaker in the panel, and then feel free to kind of raise hand or to send any questions that you have in the chat. But yeah, once again, hi, I'm Amy. I'm from Illinois, and I am a senior at Hinsdale Central High School. So a little bit of my background regarding data science and STEM in general. So yeah, most of my background's pretty similar to probably how a lot of people got into STEM. It's very interesting as a field. You see a lot of it. You see a lot of science, et cetera, in the schools. And it's very fun to be a part of. I think video games is a big part of a lot of people's sort of formative thing in computer science, et cetera. For me, I kind of got started with programming. So programming was really my kind of intro into this thing. I went to a Code with Classie camp, I believe around 6th grade or something like that. For those of you who don't know, Code with Classie is this sort of camp sponsored by Carly Kloss, and basically aims to kind of give free programming courses, like summer courses for girls, you know, in order to kind of advance their programming skills, etc. And yeah, I went to 3 of those camps where we kind of picked up generally the idea of coding and how to code, and sort of some perks in different languages. So 3 of the sessions I went to, they were composed of Ruby, JavaScript, web development, front end, HTML, CSS, and app development, so Swift and the Apple iOS stuff. So those things mainly my biggest introduction to programming and helping out in sort of helping me to understand and get into code. And yeah, like Joseph mentioned, actually, as also I did go on Scratch. Block programming is a really good intro, especially for elementary kids coming in, or you know, anyone who's really unfamiliar with code. Helps you get into the thoughts of logics, etc., and getting into that stuff. So I think websites like code.org, websites like Scratch were very kind of formative experiences in starting out the logic of code, and then went on to Code with Classie to kind of get into syntax and really using actual code to build programs, etc. So that's kind of my general intro into programming. And also, yeah, as Jed mentioned, when I was a freshman, I got accepted into the Stanford Artificial Intelligence Summer Camp. So I met Jed there, actually. And there is sort of my introduction to more complicated sort of forms to code actually. So introduction to artificial intelligence, introduction to applications of these machine learning, et cetera. And so really kind of opened my eyes to, hey, this is, using data, using algorithms, using more complex ways to use computer science, et cetera. And so what that really boils down to at the end is the idea that, hey, even with all this programming experience, all this stuff that you can do, you can code and you can create these software programs, but what can you do with that code that can actually really matter? And so what I ended up doing my sophomore year of high school, I took AP statistics, couldn't fit it in my course schedule actually, so I had to self-study that thing. But yeah, we took that class, and honestly, even if your school doesn't have an AP statistics course, it's honestly a really good introduction to some of the basic things. I know Coursera was mentioned, I know some other things were mentioned, but understanding statistics and being able to get that introduction into statistics, which I'll elaborate on later, but was a really big formative part in me getting interested into data science and enjoying this kind of thing. So in addition to the kind of code of Colossi and the extra things, continued getting onto programming, learning data science, self-studied some languages too, in order to kind of help with programming. Because I mean, my opinion, Ruby's great, but no one actually uses it. Java's great, and JavaScript is fine, but they're really not as convenient for data analysis and some of the things that I was starting to later do, which I'll elaborate on. But I did end up self-studying some programs as I kind of got older, and we're really diving into more serious projects regarding data science. And so picked up, I think primarily it's R and Python that I think are the most useful. Some people, they're pretty useful, and I love them a lot. But that's a kind of general overview on my background here. But yeah, I have a few experiences in data science. They're pretty worthwhile to share. So first and foremost, I founded the data science club at my school. So yeah, what my school has in general before I kind of got into this, I go to Hinsdale Central, which is a little school in kind of one of the Illinois suburbs. It's near Chicago. And so what our school does have is sort of a computer science club and a bunch of STEM related clubs. So we have Science Olympiad, we have math team, we have all that good stuff. Though what we don't really have is a data science club. And so it makes sense. Data science is kind of new. It's not, it's kind of hard to imagine what you do in that club, especially if you're not really sure regarding the foundations, kind of what you're doing. But yeah, so I kind of decided to take that into account, and I've created one. And so what the Data Science Club essentially does for me, it focuses on sort of educating the local community that we have, as well as improving the data science outreach at our school. Because truly, no one actually really knew what data science was when I proposed the plan and when I was trying to get teachers into it. No one was actually really sure how it really went. And so one of the goals here was really just making this club a reality, making sure people knew and could use these tools and could really benefit themselves later on. And so members of this club, generally, we conduct group research projects together, and we utilize data collection, so surveys and analysis throughout the school. And we utilize these tools in order to analyze the data that we collect that is taught in the club. So as president, I created these meeting plans every week. I prepared informative lectures once a month on specific aspects of data science for members to apply to their projects. I invited some guest speakers. We actually had some Yale researchers come in and talk about their mental health tools. So that was very interesting for them, as well as kind of handling the survey procedures with the organization and the administration. We've conducted a lot of sort of school policy surveys in order to kind of represent students' voices, because we want to actually apply data science within our community. So we wanted to really present these voices, present these opinions, and analyze the reasons behind the data. So some of these surveys included the effects of the pandemic on students' mental health, the pros and cons of the school district block schedules versus the regular schedules, and the effects of grade scaling and policy changes made by the administration. So these reports are being written up and submitted to the district and provide sort of the evidence and the foundation for the district to kind of take students' voices into account and sort of know these extra facets of their community. In addition, as we did mention, as Joseph did mention, we participated in the N3C competition, which is a math modeling competition where we try to model real world problems in a 14-hour time period and write a report. And we did actually manage to win our first year as a club. We got a national honorable mention, which is pretty impressive for a first time running and first time trying to work out this mathematical modeling stuff. In addition, I also founded dataRizon. So I already kind of demoed it in the beginning, but really it's a nonprofit organization built to educate K through 12 students and provide sort of free data support for other nonprofits. So once again, if you're interested in that, feel free to contact us at datarizon@gmail.com or shoot us an email. In addition, I do a lot of research. So I wasn't as competition based as Jed and Joseph and all these people. I kind of chose a more slower paced scale here. So research, I do a lot of computational biology research. That's generally my main focus. I know in the beginning, I mentioned that data science is a sort of intersection of computer science, statistics, and domain knowledge. So in my case, for some of my projects, what ended up happening was the domain knowledge here is biology and sort of the human genes, human microbiome, etc. And so I've worked with a couple of professors and creating these sort of computational research projects. Let's see, I've one of these projects actually, I used this one into, I entered it into the Illinois Junior Academy of Science competition. So I mentioned this at the beginning, didn't really elaborate, but basically for Illinois, we have a science competition called the IJS, or Illinois Junior Academy of Science competition. And this is kind of where you're allowed to take your research projects that you've kind of done outside of school, outside of instruction, and you can write a report on it, you can do an oral presentation on it, you can submit these aspects into this competition. And so then on a regional level, if you were to win, you can advance to a state level. And then if you were to win that, then you can get honor and stuff like that. But what it really does is tests your ability to carry through the research cycle and really gives you experience into conducting research and conducting this sort of stuff. So this specific competition is only for Illinois kids, but this is the research competitions in general are very, very, very prevalent in pretty much every single state. I think pretty much every country even. So I'm very sure that for US kids, I know that there is or it might be international, but there is a Intel competition, I think, for research that spans globally, and there's big prizes associated with that, etc. But really, there's a lot of regional or state or country level competitions that deal with you creating this research projects, writing a report on it, presenting it, and then going through this whole cycle where you take your data, you analyze your data, and you're able to work with data. And so nice thing about data analysis and research, specifically for me, is that because I do computational biology research, I think when a lot of people hear research, they kind of assume you're working in a wet lab, which is kind of, hey, you're in the laboratory, you're dissecting animals, or you're creating, you're splicing genes, you're doing whatever in a physical kind of setting. But the nice thing about using and understanding data analysis is that you're kind of able to sit back here. So you don't have to necessarily go through this wet lab process. You don't have to do all the chemical things, etc. Because by using data analysis, especially, for example, in computational biology, there's a lot of data already out there. So think about all those gene sets in the world, all those the Human Microbiome Project, all those things. There's already a lot of data out there. And then what they really need is for someone to take that data, draw conclusions from it. And so then research like computational biology, you're using data science in, say, a social studies setting or a business setting, something like that. All of that stuff you can do on the computer and just using your brain, analyzing it and drawing conclusions and just kind of going through that research cycle through that lens. So that honestly, it's a way that a lot of people don't initially think about research, but it's very worthwhile. I think, yeah, especially in the point I'll mention below. But yeah, so Illinois Junior Academy of Science, that's a very worthwhile competition. Currently, I'm on the state board for that. So if any Illinois kids are interested in it, you guys can contact me and I can help you guys with setting it up and etc. But yeah, once again, research competitions and research in general, big part of data science experience because it does help you in applying this sort of stuff into your own life and really helping you get an understanding of how to do research and how to use data analysis. In addition, I did get accepted into MIT's RSI program, and this is a 6 weeks of research under within MIT usually. Last year, the way that ended up happening was that there's a pandemic. So this summer wasn't able to actually physically go, but this actually proves a very, very nice point about data analysis because the pandemic makes it so that wet labs, especially in this sort of research setting, they were pretty much unapplicable. Like you were not able to collect that data. So then instead, what I was able to do was I did 6 weeks of research under a Harvard professor. So we focused specifically on computational biology. We were analyzing gene longevity and we were using R and all those programs in order to draw conclusions from that data set already existing. And yeah, within 6 weeks, I was able to write up a paper, present it in front of the MIT and RSI's board, and yeah, finish up that class there. So always very, very interesting stuff that you can do with data analysis and data science, in research and in science, and in really understanding patterns, etc. And so, yeah, real fast, I think I'll wrap it up just so we have some time for a few little questions. But regarding some advice, I think that everyone's been saying, for me, I think I'd echo a lot of what everyone else has been parroting. I think, yeah, it is important it's worthwhile to have an interest in STEM. I think it's not very hard. I know a lot of people approach data science as a big word. I know people approach technology and computer science and programming. Those are very, very big words. But in my opinion, it's not that hard. It's intimidating, but it's not hard to do this stuff. And when you're able to do data science, really, you can make this very big impact. And a lot of people tend to think, I believe, that data science might not be for them, or hey, STEM isn't really my thing. I don't really care about computational biology. I don't really care about, doing research papers or doing competitions, and that's valid. There's different people who like different things, but at the same time, the nice thing about data science is that it's so applicable to everything. So you saw, hey, there's some people who focused on ethics and privacy, the philosophy side of things. And there's some people who focused on the math things, people who like that part. And there's some people who specifically just really like the comp sci part. And then, for me, I like the comp bio part, and I ended up doing a lot of research on that. But if you're interested in business or finance or sports, I think the nice thing about data science and applying this stuff is that you can still, it's still usable in any field that you really go for, because the 3 intersections for data science is comp sci, math, statistics, and data science. And so not data science and domain knowledge. So domain knowledge itself is really something that you can supply. And so whether it's like, hey, I want to go into finance, I want to do my own thing there, that's super doable with data science. You can use data science to analyze, hey, here's a model for how the stock market's going to go up. Here's a model for, how this portfolio is going to go. Here's a let's analyze the trend patterns in this market versus this market and see if there's something fun that we can pull out of that no one else has kind of discovered yet. It's a very neat trick, and it's a very worthwhile for people to get into. And mainly, I think the real reason why a lot of people weren't sure what it is because it's so broad and it's so applicable that once you realize the power of what it can do, it's very hard to let go of that. But at the same time, just at a passing glance, without really experiencing it yourself and without really experiencing what you can do with it, I think that's kind of it's kind of hard to break into. But I think the real key here is, hey, sit down for a bit, try to do a few lessons. Hey, maybe on Coursera, maybe if there's a class at school, maybe if there's a club at school, or even through our organization where we can guide you. It's really about taking that first step and then just taking your time getting into it, and then eventually you'll find that spark and you'll kind of understand really what's going on with data science and how that really appeals to you and your personal field. But yeah, that's currently my perspective on things. I don't claim to know I don't claim to know everything, of course, but I think it's very worthwhile, and that you guys should definitely keep that in mind and keep exploring it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it from me and the panelists. So we have a few minutes for some questions. So if anyone wants to do the raise hand feature, or type in the chat, I know that we can any of our panelists can answer, and we can figure that out. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, you can go for it.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Actually, I'm not a student in CS or data science, but I'm keen on biology and medical science, and now studying biology. So as far as I know, there are many inventions in biomedical engineering or other aspects which have close links with data science. So I wonder, apart from these aspects you guys have mentioned was really enthusiastic and really good. So I think a part of them, how the artificial intelligence or data statistics can encourage the further development of pharmaceutical industries.
Okay, so awesome. So your question is kind of how data science can really improve the pharmaceutical biomedical field. And yeah, that's a great point. I think, yeah, we didn't really touch on that a lot. And it's really great that you have this interest here. I think, yeah, as I mentioned, data science as a general field can be applied to a lot of things. So I think for biomedical and pharmaceutical, it's pretty important. I don't have too much experience in the field, but let's say biomedical, if you're analyzing diseases, if you want to kind of analyze, hey, let's model how this disease might spread, or how this disease might work within the human body, and see if there's an ample treatment for that. Or hey, if there's pharmaceutical wise, if there's like a drug here and you want to kind of test, does this drug target some gene? Does this drug have different effects in mice? All these sort of data, they're out there, and then you can use data analysis. You can use this stuff to analyze it. So yeah, in my opinion, if you have an interest in this stuff and you have the tools, I think you're able to apply it into a lot of different things. And I know there's specific courses that really touch on using data science, using artificial intelligence, even in pharmaceuticals and biomedical fields, stuff like that. I know bioinformatics, I know Joseph mentioned, it's a big part of kind of building these tools, helping out the biomedical field. And yeah, it's really worth looking at.
Yeah, I think there will be more intersections between different domains and different subjects. You just mentioned that data science or statistics can produce tremendous impacts in the future. So I think that's a very good point of view. So we are able to pursue.
Awesome. Yeah. See, any other questions?
So I think nowadays gene editing is also a very everyone has have discussed this.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah.
has mentioned. So I think, what do you think? Or
Yeah, I think, yeah, gene editing is a huge, huge thing. I know people talk about CRISPR a lot. But there's a lot of data that comes out of this stuff. So I think any field I think that has data, you can generate questions and you can generate research. Like honestly, even if there's no like, hey, this is the immediate, application of whatever. But I can see a lot of application for gene editing and this sort of stuff like that. But yeah, I think honestly, whatever field, like you mentioned, any field that has data can be used for data science because you can analyze that data as long as you have data. And most, if not all fields produce that kind of thing, whether it's qualitatively or quantitatively. And that stuff you can all learn. It's all about, just understanding the tools. But I think once you get in the mindset of, hey, I can try looking at this data and I can try finding these patterns, I think it's totally possible that, you can do stuff with it.
Thank you.
See, any other thoughts? Any other thoughts at all? Awesome. Okay, so I think if no one else has any questions in chat, I think we're about to wrap up. So let's not waste your time anymore here. But yeah, once again, thanks everyone for coming. If you do have any questions later on, also feel free to, once again, yeah, check out the resources Joseph sent in chat below. And also, if you want to check out the nonprofit, our email contact is here, as well as our, let's see. But yeah, once again, thanks everyone for coming. And it's great that you guys are kind of all interested in data science regardless. So yeah, once again, if you have any thoughts or any questions or inquiries, or if you guys just want to learn more about data science, feel free to check out that email, check out our website. Yeah, hopefully we'll see a lot more of you guys doing data science and doing STEM in general, just kind of looking at all those fun opportunities that we provided. So yeah, once again, thanks for coming tonight. Thanks everyone who has questions, and we'll see you sometime, hopefully. But yeah, have a great night. Thanks so much.
Bye.